Hi, Darryl.
Hey, what's up?
Hey, nothing.
I almost went with a Bugs Bunny. Hey, what's up, Doc?
What's up, Doc? No, having a great day, man. It's a good day for a podcast today.
It's a good day for a podcast, that's for
Yeah,
sure. I think I'm going to steal Bugs Bunny's line because, like, my kids, they know who Bugs Bunny is, but they're not in tune with him, so they don't realize his catchphrases.
like Tiny Toons, like they're not in tune with them.
They're not in tune with the old Tiny Toons.
It's funny. I'm definitely the old guy of the office now, right? So I come up with all sorts of like references to cartoons and TV shows, and oh my god, they don't have a clue what I'm talking about.
It's funny. This week, I figured out that I am my own parents.
Oh, no doubt.
Yeah, when I was a kid, I remember my parents, my dad liked, and I can't remember the song, but it was a musical artist, whatever. And the song came on the radio as a new artist. And my dad's like, I love this song. And he turned it up and he was singing all the lyrics. And I was like, oh man, that song's so uncool now. So the other day, I'm driving my daughter to, and my daughter's an actress, and she got a gig, and we were driving to the gig. So we were driving in the car, and she says the song comes on by Olivia Rodrigo, which I'm probably saying it wrong because I really don't know who the goddamn artist is. But she's this young, like she's like probably like 18 years old, but she does rock music, and it's very rare that you have young girls doing rock music. So it's really cool, and she actually has that mix of Veruca Salt, Avril Lavigne type thing.
I loved Veruca Salt.
Oh, me too. And so I'm like, I'm rocking out to this, and Peyton's in the back. I look in the mirror, and she has this look of disappointment on her face. So I stopped the music, and I said, "What's the matter?" I'm like, "You don't like her?" And she's like, "No, I loved her." And I was like, "Oh, well, what's the problem then?" She's like, "So you like that song?" I'm like, "Yeah." She's like, "Do other old people like that song?" I was like, well,
You old
probably. It's a really
bastard.
good song. And she's like, oh. And then you could tell, like, that song and that artist is now out of her repertoire
Yeah.
because dad likes it. It is now
Yeah.
uncool.
Deleted that from her playlist.
I know. So now I feel like I need to apologize to Olivia Rodrigo because I'm making her uncool. And the best part was we get on set and she's doing her thing. It was a photo shoot that day, and she's doing the photo shoot, and the photographer puts on music, and he has like Taylor Swift and all this stuff. And the Olivia Rodrigo song comes on, and from like 100 feet away, Peyton stops doing what she's doing, tries to lock eyes with me, and gives me like a look like, oh, great.
I hate this song. Oh, well, you never cramp my style, dude, so you don't have to worry about that with me. My kids are so embarrassed of me.
Ah, that's it. We're getting old. That's the problem. Remember when we used to be heroes?
Yeah, that's long gone.
But then the funny thing is like, I'll have my Air Jordans on or something, and my daughter will be like, "Man, you look so cool." Or like I won't have them on, and she's like, "Hey, you should wear your Jordans. You'll look so cool." And I'm like, "Do you want me to be cool or do you not want me to be cool? I can't figure this out. I'm struggling with this." Stupid kids. Welcome to Taming the Hustle.
Or something of the sorts.
Everybody wants a piece of me. I'm a lonesome man making history. They say we're all just raindrops in a stream.
So what the hell are we talking about today?
We're going to talk about some cool things today, I think, because I want to talk about management styles.
Interesting.
And I know I talk a lot about marketing, and people are like, well, management style is not part of marketing, but it really is, because the way you run your company is going to be the way your employees treat your customers.
Absolutely.
That's marketing in itself. So if you have a shitty strategy, your marketing is shitty.
I can't wait to hear what you got to say, bud.
Yeah. What are you going to talk about today? Tell me what you're going to talk about. Tell me.
We're going to keep it very lighthearted, actually. You and I have had conversations. Well, when does one decide to retire? When do you pick a day? Or do
I know.
you?
You told me I can't retire in my 30s, which really pissed me off.
Yeah, you can't. So just suck it up and keep doing what you're doing. So yeah, we'll just have a chat about how we sort of guide our clients through some decision making in regards to choosing a date, and it's pretty different for everyone, but we'll get into that.
Nice. And I think we'll follow that up with, you know what? I'm not even going to tell you. It'll just be a little cock of the walk type thing.
Cock of the walk. I'm in.
Yeah. Start us off. Talk about something.
I can start.
I love hearing your voice.
Love hanging around with you, buddy.
Me too.
This podcast was the best idea for us to have some buddy time.
I know. It's better than lying to my wife and saying I'm going to the gym.
Yeah. Well, you're leaving with your skinny jeans and you're just as fat when you come back. So,
That's the problem. After months of saying I was going to the gym, she kind of figured it out. She's like, "I think you need a new trainer because it's not working."
no, just you know what, we're all so busy, and we just rarely make enough time for relationships that we value. So this is a great way for us to force ourselves to hang out and chill and talk about bullshit. So anyway, retiring.
Yeah, when should I retire?
I see every color of the rainbow, really. We have people that absolutely love their work and never even consider retiring. They don't even talk or think about it. And there's people where sometimes, like someone with a pension plan, like a teacher would say, oh, my earliest retirement date is this, and it's in 15 years, 3 months, 2
Yep.
weeks, 3 days, and 7 hours.
My wife is a teacher. That didn't happen until her like 15-year mark of teaching.
Yeah, I threw the teacher thing out there because I had a suspicion that Erin knew exactly when she was going to retire.
Yeah, she could tell you the minute.
Yeah. So it's kind of interesting, the mindset, right? And it's really, like I said, it's really dependent on the individual. And what's kind of funny is sometimes the couple are not seeing things the same.
Yep.
Right. So you'll have a business owner who absolutely loved what she does and it doesn't feel like work. And then you have the husband that, works underground and is just slaving away and feeling, beat up because of physical
Yeah.
labor his whole career and just can't wait to pull the plug and get some fishing in there.
Yeah, for sure.
So there's a few things that we look at is mostly lifestyle is what is important to you? What are your goals? What are your aspirations? For me, I'll use myself as an example. And I think Megan is of the same mindset, is that I rather work longer
Yeah.
and have the ability to spend a bit more money now to say travel. Like, that I live a life of minimalism. We're not big spenders.
Definitely.
No. We're not about, flashy things. We like to buy good quality stuff, but traveling is something that's really dear to me. And I rather have the ability to travel 1 or 2 extra times a year and say, I'm going to add 5 years to my working life instead of having this very set objective to retiring as early as I can and having to sacrifice traveling now.
Yeah, for sure.
Right. So it's really about the balance. This tagline that you helped us create is live well today while planning to live well tomorrow. And that is really what we try to achieve when deciding a date. So then you have the other character who maybe because they're not finding the life's fulfillment out of their career and are very anxious to retire as soon as possible. And often those are the ones that have pension plans, like I said, like a teacher or a police officer or, someone with a public servant's pension plan or a hoop pension at the hospital where it's like every year they get that December 31st statement to say, oh, you can retire at age 57, with an unreduced pension.
So generally the people who deal with students, criminals, or sick people.
Yeah, want to retire.
I get it.
They don't want to deal with them forever. No, understandably. I mean, there's certain jobs you don't want to be doing your whole life because of stress levels. And sometimes it's physical, right?
Yeah, for sure.
From one perspective, pension plans often help clients have a certain date in mind.
Yeah.
For the ones that don't have pensions, when we create a financial plan, what we tell the client is what we're doing with the draft 1 of the plan is we're setting a perimeter to let you know what is possible. Like, what is a realistic expectation? So if we set draft 1 at age 60, that's often where our starting point is.
Yeah.
Okay. So you have X amount of dollars in RSPs and TFSAs. You may have money in your holding company. You have your government pensions, the CPP, the old age security. You may or may not have a pension. So then we tabulate all of that in the plan that we design for the client and say, okay, well, based on what you've accumulated so far and at the age that you're at, you can retire with no interruption in your income at age 61. Then the client has the ability to say, well, fuck, I don't want to fucking work till 61. So what do I need to do differently?
Yeah, exactly.
We can then either try to increase the rate of return to be a little bit more aggressive with your strategy if you're trying to grow your wealth a little faster. The next thing would be to try to save more money. Then it becomes a hybrid solution to say, okay, well, I understand I can't retire at 58, but I will work till 60. It'll help you sort of live with less income, so reducing your cash flow.
Yep.
And you'll be setting more money aside.
Yeah.
And then sometimes we do have to compromise and say we're going to work later. So then we'll come up with a plan with the client to say, well, let's plan to retire at 60 instead of 61, but you're going to have to save an extra $500 a month. And this is the strategy that we should adopt to try to accomplish that. And I'm going to get, used to spending a little bit less.
Now, do people have trouble finding that $500 a month sometimes, and they're stuck in their ways of saying, "Hey, I do want to retire at this age, but I need to find that 500." Like I know when I came to you, I became a male gigolo for a little bit. I was able to supplement the $500, and we're good. I'm just kidding.
Look, you did that for a month, and your retirement was fully funded.
People love the chubby boys.
Yeah, there's a market for it. That's actually a really good question, Darryl. It really depends on how serious the client is about retiring on a certain date. There's some people, they're like fucking Hitlers, man. They're like, I am not working till 65.
Really, eh?
I'm going to retire at 60 because I don't love what I do, and I'm just going to kick some ass, and I'm going to make sure that this happens.
Yeah.
And then there's others that are like, whatever. You go down the street and you buy a new sled, and you're like, that's my $500 a month payment, but I'm okay. I'll just retire at 65. Fuck it. Oh, well. So it really depends on the mindset of how serious someone is about wanting to retire on a particular date.
Interesting.
And then the other extreme, and we often see this with business owners. So entrepreneurs have a very different mindset where it doesn't feel like work. And I have clients that have actually retired that have gone back to work because like, I need a sense of purpose. Like, work for me is not work. Work is just something that you do, right? My parents are religious, and my father always says, God put us on earth to work. It's not going to hurt you to work.
Yeah.
And work hard, and might as well do a good job at it, right? So the entrepreneur often has that mindset that I'm just going to keep plugging away at it. And, the idea of financial freedom is you have the ability to retire if you want to, but you choose to keep working because you want to.
So when it comes to trying to pick that retirement date, and like you said, if it's an extra $500 a month, and some people are saying, yeah, let's do it. But what about those ones who, kind of simply put, is that they not live paycheck to paycheck, but they, once they get their paycheck, they pay all their bills. There's that little bit of spending money. And yes, they are investing with you. Does it come down to sitting with you and you trying to show them that, they're very conservative in the way they're investing right now, and they could get that extra return if they went a little more aggressive?
Yeah, that's always a touchy subject because people lead on to be more aggressive than they actually are.
Oh, I believe that.
Well, as soon as you see any type of correction in the market, there's uncertainty.
Yeah.
We try to set the tone for the client and set the expectation, and to really find an investment strategy that is within their comfort level.
Yeah.
So that when we see corrections in the markets, we'll often get clients saying, well, I'm not going to run for the hills, but I just need reassurance that I'm going to be okay. And then we sort of do a revision of why we adopted a certain strategy and why they're going to be okay and why it was appropriate for them. You'll have a client that invests, say, in GICs getting 2-3%. If we can then get them into the mindset to invest, even if it was a balanced type investment where they'd have 50 or 60% in equity, you're not really exposing yourself to a ton of long-term growth, but it could make the difference of doubling your return. You could be getting yourself 5, 6, or 7% return on a well-managed portfolio, as opposed to 2 or 3% on a GIC. We then have to work closely with the client to learn to control emotions with the ups and downs of the markets.
Oh, for sure.
Knowing that long-term, the strategy makes way more sense. But when we're looking at a GIC client versus, say, a balanced investor, I mean, when you're looking at 4% more return over a lifetime, fuck.
That's a lot.
You could be looking at millions in difference, right?
Yeah. I know people who simply watch the stock market. They are constantly calling their financial planner and panicking, and they're in the conservative type range. The way I look at it is I trust my financial planner, and I'm not trying to kiss your ass here.
I appreciate that.
But I trust my financial planner. And the way I look at it is if I would have kept that money, I probably would spend it on shit. So to give it to you and be more aggressive and ignore it and not look at it, not panic about it. And the only time I want to see it and want to know is when we have a meeting once a month, once a year, whatever we decide is fit. That's when I want to know about it. Otherwise, I don't want to know about it. That's the way I look at things.
Yeah, that's the best mindset as well, because you're going to drive yourself crazy looking at fucking BNN every single day. Some people really do belong in GICs, though, and not at all in equities. Often it's because of lack of understanding, the fear of the risk, right? You got to understand, in a portfolio that's fully managed, you're going to have like 150 companies. If you're like a moderate investor and have 35 or 40% of your money in equities,
Yeah.
and out of that 35% of your portfolio, you've got 150 companies, they'd have to all go fucking bankrupt for your money to be worth nothing.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? Every fund manager would be fired because they wouldn't be picking the right stocks. Like, it's not realistic to have a fear that you're going to lose all your money. It's not going to happen.
Yeah. Like, I think if you ate glue and stuffed crayons in your nose all the way through high school, GICs is the way to go
Yeah,
for you.
yeah, that's right. We do have a large block of GIC business, especially with our older clients that really don't want to see the ups and downs. But
And now they just hated your marketing guy.
yeah, now they hate you for sure.
All right, listen, let's you know what? We made you a fucking cool ad about retirement. We've made many of them, but this one is really cool. Do you want to hear it?
Yeah, I love them all.
Yeah, let's do it. We'll be right back.
Ciao.
Listen, year after year, we tell you the same old story. So this year, let's keep it simple. Get your together.
It's simple. Hashtag call René, certified financial planner of St. Cyr and Associates.
Welcome back. And listen, I think that all that retirement stuff gets you really thinking, and I'm happy we brought that up because my retirement age changes on a daily basis in my mind.
When we spoke during the commercial, is that we both pretty much agree we're likely never going to completely retire.
That's a given. Whether you're thinking about retirement or not, things to make your life a little bit easier. And that's what I want to talk about today is your management style.
It could be very impactful on how you're going to grow your business as well, too.
Exactly. So I want to talk about 3 management styles that I personally love and I think really work. And we've helped companies throughout the years try to change the way they manage their team. Because when we go in for marketing and we start looking and doing all the data and we look at stuff and we say, okay, well, your customers aren't really connecting to your own staff. And they say, oh, damn, staff, what do I need to do? Do I need a whole new staff? And it's like, well, you know, a lot of times it comes from the top down.
Yep.
It's a slap in the face when you tell somebody that, but it's a reality.
It always hurts when you're told you're doing something wrong, right? Or to be asked to change.
Exactly. I want to talk about the first one. It's called the collaborative management style, which is like a democratic type style. This is where you would let your employees participate in decision-making processes. This type of style, it really shows your team that they have value. You get a diversity of ideas, and you really get to understand the people who are your team members, and you're looking for their success, right? They come with ideas, good or bad, whatever you want to think they are. They're not bad. A lot of times they just need to be massaged.
I'm pretty sure that our HR department would say that massaging your employees is not a good idea.
Exactly.
Side note.
No, just their ideas. Don't massage them, just the ideas.
This is weird, René.
But, you know, at the end of the day, you are the top and you get to approve all the decisions. But if you're involving them, that's a huge thing, right? It allows them to feel like they're involved, they're making a difference, and it brings their own style into your business, right? And in turn, what happens there is whether it's, you know, we'll take a clothing store, for example.
Yeah, give me an example to help me understand what you're talking about.
It's a mom and pop clothing store. You got the owner and you got, let's say, 5 employees. The owner comes in and says, hey, we're going to redecorate today. This is what we're going to do. Bang, 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 bang. These are the 5 things. And the employees sit there and be like, we know that's not what the customer likes. But if we say something, it's going to be bad. With the collaborative style, the owner comes in and says, hey, we need to redo the look of the store. We need to restructure it because something's not working. What can we do better? And the employees are like, well, I can tell you right now, when people walk in the store and we have that display right at the front, they get intimidated because they walk in, there's mannequins, there's everything right there, and they got to go around it. They don't know where the women's side is, where the men's side is. And now all of a sudden you're getting ideas and you're like, oh shit, maybe we should really show that where things are. My employees had great ideas, right? Or maybe it's something even more in left field where they say the type of music we play. When they walk in, it should be automatic that this comes on. And you're like, as an owner, you're like, well, you know, I really like just having the radio station on. But listen, what if we change radio stations instead of the one we're normally playing? Because I love country, but you're telling me our customers don't love country? No problem. Let's go to the alternative rock station, right? Maybe it's that type of compromise.
And the details make a difference, Darryl. So 2 things here. One is, this reminds me of Simon Sinek's challenge to learn to speak last as a leader, because I love the way that he leads and suggests that I lead.
You do have a man crush on him.
I do. As per your example, you've got the owner of the clothing store comes in, says, we need to make a change. We're going to change our music. And then you're already, even if you ask for input after, you've already influenced how the employee thinks he's supposed to be commenting
Exactly.
or reacting or contributing, right? But if you just learn to speak last, they come up with their own ideas. And sometimes you get some really creative juices flowing there.
100%.
And pertaining to the details, on a side note, because I thought that was interesting, you brought up the music, is that we'll often change our Spotify playlist depending on the type of client coming in.
No, yeah, nice.
Sometimes it's the client in particular, sometimes it's the age bracket, and sometimes
Yeah.
it's the mood, right? Like you don't
Yeah,
want to you don't want to have alternative rock when you have a 75-year-old woman coming in because her husband just died.
Exactly.
But anyway, getting back to the topic though, is Simon Sinek has me challenging myself all the time about speaking last, and it's very, very impactful.
Just like Simon Sinek, there's another great leader. Well, he was a great leader out there. Is Steve Jobs. He was somebody who had this, what we call a transformative style. It's the believe in change and growth for their organization. So basically, you're building a company culture by encouraging employees to move from an attitude of like self-interest, like most employees sometimes go into a job with, to a mindset where they are working for the greater good.
Yeah.
Right?
And I love that you brought Steve Jobs up. My mom every morning sends me like a little saying or a little comment, and sometimes it's just a photo of something.
Yeah.
So this morning she sends me a quote from Steve Jobs that says, "The only way to do great work is to love what you do."
Oh, nice. Exactly. Wow. What a
There's
coincidence.
proof right there.
Whoa. That's crazy.
Except it came in yesterday, but we're not going to tell anyone.
That's okay. That's okay. We won't tell anybody. Still a coincidence. Steve Jobs been dead for years.
Yep. He's going to be dead forever too.
But with Steve Jobs, he used this style and he inspired his employees by showing them the change that they could make in the world. He made the employees strive for that work, like for that greatness. And what happens with that, it was a happy accident, I think, on his part, is that he went in and said, hey, the way computers are needs to change. We need to make them better. We need to make them faster. We need to make them more user friendly. What happened is that it became a movement, right? Within his own organization, they hired employees and they bought into it because it was for the greater good. And then what would happen is engineers, instead of working 9 to 5, he would never ask them to work late ever. You're done at 5 o'clock. That's it. And at 5 o'clock, the engineers would be like, listen, hey, I'm getting real close to something here. I'm going to work a little later. And he's like, I think you just go home whenever you want, But in their back of their minds, they were like, this is for the greater good. They ended up working late. They created new ideas without being asked. They did all this stuff. And it was all because of this transformative management style, which really brought them into the company and being part of it. And again, for the greater good. If you believe in your own company, if you believe in your own style, if you believe that you are working for the greater good, they're going to do it too.
It's not at all about making them think. If you have a clear vision about what your purpose is and you're passionate about, and it's the greater good, like I feel alive, like I vibrate at this fucking shit because that's how passionate I feel about my work and the team that we have. And everyone understands the why and they know that it's fucking life changing. It's so, so powerful. Like I got goosebumps.
100%. And the last one that I want to talk about is the coaching management style. And it's just like a sports coach, right? You're a coaching manager striving to improve your employees through professional development.
Does that mean I have to wear a whistle around my neck?
Exactly. Yeah.
I don't want my team to start calling me coach, though.
No, it's about training them. That's what a sports coach does, right? Is they train their athletes to become great leaders, great athletes. And the two main goals here is to teach individual team members new skills, right?
Yep.
I do this with my own team where it doesn't have to be me teaching them something. It could be something I saw on Instagram, a guy doing Photoshop with a new trick. And I'll send that video to my graphic designer and say, hey, check this out. How fucking cool is that? Do you know how to do this? And if they say, yes, I know, it's like, oh man, you should have told me that. We should do it all the time. Or if they say, no, never seen it before, my reaction is, oh my God, check it out. Play around with it. Let's see if we can do something with this, right? And it's educating them and training them, whether it's within your business or outside. And the other part, the biggest part of the coaching method is bringing the team together. That's so fucking hard to do for some people.
Yep.
But bringing them together with this coaching mentality, it can be an easy thing.
The team huddle is so important, dude. It's so often overlooked.
It is.
If we don't huddle regularly, like right away, we see a disconnect. And our team asked for it. We having a team meeting this morning. You could just feel it, myself included, is that if we don't have that huddle and just stay connected,
100%.
it just creates like a next level vibe for your team.
Exactly. So now one last thing I want to talk about before we go, the management style to avoid, and that's the autocratic style.
Autocratic.
That is the top-down approach.
That's a big word. That's the word of the day.
I'm the boss. I make the decisions. You do what I say. You're policing your employees on a daily basis.
Super, super effective management style.
Oh yeah, people are gonna fucking love you, and they're gonna quit. You're gonna be so loved that you're gonna be hiring employees once a week.
I know some of those guys, and I don't work with them because you're just not a good fit, right?
If you own a business and you have to get to customers or clients, and you're not the one doing it, you've hired employees to do this for you, and you treat them with that top-down approach. When they see those clients or customers, they're already drained. You've drained the fuck out of them even before they saw the client.
I don't know what makes people like that. I don't know if it's a power thing or if it's just not being very attentive to how your management style will affect your business. I don't know if it's a confidence thing, but that style is such a turnoff.
It's an old style, but it's still hanging around, right? When we talk about sports coaches, the same thing. I've coached hockey at really high levels, and I've worked with head coaches who still have that old style of, I'm going to yell at the player if he makes a mistake. I'm going to tell him he's a piece of horse shit. And they would make fun of the new styles of coaching. And I saw that, and it's like, I never had that style, and I never understood it. I had coaches like that. I've had bosses like that where they just treat you like shit, and I couldn't wait to get out.
Now tell me, can we not sort of commingle the three styles that you recommend that we adopt?
Well, that's what I was going to say, is that you yourself do all three of these styles.
Oh, thank you.
I know. And if you can bring those three together, you're going to have success. You're going to have employees who love to work for you.
You'll never hear me say my employee or my staff. It's my team.
Hey, listen, speaking of being the cock of the walk, let's talk about being confident when we get back.
I'm confident we could do that.
I'm confident we can do that. I love it.
Bye.
My parents plan for their retirement on their own, and they say they sleep like babies. I guess that's why they're up crying every hour.
Be confident about your future wealth. Hashtag call René of St. Cyr and Associates.
Hey, we're back. Hey, I'm gonna throw a line here. Okay,
Okay, boss.
Definitely not gonna sound okay, boss. That's it. Podcast over.
I'm boss man.
The big lesson in life, baby, is never be scared of anyone or anything.
Nice.
I know. Do you know who said that?
No clue.
Oh, Blue Eyes, Frank Sinatra.
I'm still a little bit afraid of my mom.
But seriously, that line right there from Frank Sinatra, he said it obviously a long time ago. And he's right. If you can pull that shit off and not be scared of anyone or anything, you are going to be the most confident person in the room. Simple as that.
Confidence is complicated.
It is complicated, and it took me a long time. I did the whole fake it till you make it thing. Early on, I had no confidence in my career, like not in my career, but just in what I did, and just walking into a room and pitching somebody. I was like, there was nothing more fearful for me than trying to pitch somebody. But when I'd walk into a room after I was done, people are like, man, you were the most confident person I've ever met. But inside,
I was faking it.
that's it. I'm just screaming inside my own head 90% of the time. And one of the things that worked really, really well for me about the faking it till you make it, which actually turned into confidence for me, is that I used to pretend to be somebody else. So whether that's, I'd be a professional athlete, or I would mimic how other people would do stuff.
You're fucking weird.
So like I think of today, I think of like The Rock or Ryan Reynolds, right? They walk into a room and they own it the second they walk in. And so I still do this today where, I'll watch a video of The Rock and he'll talk about something, and just his presence and the way he delivers it, you're like, wow, damn. So I take that and I almost make it like a role, like I'm an actor.
Yeah, but you're not The Rock or Ryan Reynolds.
No, definitely not. But when I walk in,
they've got like a foot on you. They both have about a foot and a half on you.
But when I walk into a room now, if I portray The Rock in my own mind, like I'm The Rock, I'm going to stand here and show you I'm playing a character, but I'm going to give you the message that Darryl Boulay wrote.
So this is Darryl with his team. He's like, don't call me boss. Call me The Rock. I see where you're going with this. You're more fucked up than I thought you were.
That's funny. But no, seriously, like I'll go into a room, I'm going into a meeting, and sometimes it's with some big intimidating people. They're from a big bank, they're from a car company, whatever it is. And I walk into that room and it's like, okay, they are all bigger than life, and I need to be on their level or above.
Frank Sinatra said not to be afraid of them.
Exactly. So if I go in and I'm just going to portray the character as The Rock, then I can do that. And I can go in and I can do exactly what I want to do. I'm playing a character, I've scripted it, and that's one thing I want to talk about is planning stuff. If you're going to a dinner party, plan it out in your head. What am I going to talk about? What are interesting things I've had to say in the last little while? What have I done? What questions could I ask them? I look through their Instagram and say, oh, wow, saw you went to Mexico. What was that like?
It's like anything in life. If you're prepared for it, you're going to have a much better outcome.
Exactly. So my little copycat trick ended up giving me confidence because I used to do that on a regular basis, just pretending to be somebody else, but screaming in my own head still. But then it became second nature where it's like I would walk into a room and I didn't have to think I was The Rock or I didn't have to think I was somebody else. I would just walk in and I would have that confidence right out of the gate because I had done it so many times that it wasn't scary anymore.
Your level of preparedness too is like learning to read your crowd and know your crowd as well too, right? Who's your audience?
Yep.
So like you're saying at a dinner party is who's your audience? What's the conversation? What's the tone going to be like? Could affect what you decide to wear, right?
Yep, 100%.
The cologne that you put on. Whatever.
Exactly. There's 3 little tricks too that you can pull off. And the first is body language, right? If you have good posture, if you have a good handshake, if you make eye contact,
your smile.
Exactly. You're ahead of the game.
People want to see teeth, man.
Exactly.
If you have a resting bitch face, it's really fucking hard to connect with people.
Yes, definitely. The other thing is just when you're talking to somebody, the pace. Like nervous people really talk really fast. Like, I heard you went to Mexico. How was that? Was that a fun trip? Holy fuck, slow down. You're making me nervous now. Slow it down. Right? Think about what you're going to say. Obviously, if you pause for too long, then they know something's up. But if you're just slowing down, talking at a normal pace, which falls into the whole fidget thing. If you're fidgeting when you're talking to somebody, like lots of hand movements, mind you, if you're French, that's okay. You're going to move your hands a lot. Trust me.
That's not fidgetness. That is just communicating. It's just communicating.
Exactly. Yeah. But if you're fidgeting, like, you're playing with your shirt and you're doing stuff, it gets really noticeable and people are conscious of it. And they're like, oh man, they clearly look nervous. Right. And so those are kind of some tips that work for me. I used to be intimidated by confident people, like I said. Again, treating it like a movie role, whether I was the movie star, the stud muffin at my school, whatever, I would just try to portray these people that I knew had confidence. Combining those 3 little tips of body language, your pace of speaking and not fidgeting really made me into a more confident person over time. It took a while.
Confidence is intimidating indeed.
Yeah. So now I'm going to ask you a personal question because I've imitated you.
Good God.
I've copied your style more than a few times thinking I'm you going into a room because I think you are super confident. How have you always approached it? Because you've been confident since you were young, I feel.
Well, you know what? I said at the beginning that it's complicated, right? Like your upbringing will affect your confidence.
Definitely.
Right? If you're told you're a piece of shit growing up, it's going to be a lot fucking more difficult than a person who's given tools and responsibility. It's also equally damaging to be babied your whole life, right?
Yes.
So if someone coddles you and shelters you your whole life, that's really difficult to have the right confidence. But, growing up, my parents, they taught me to become an adult. They taught me respect.
Yep.
They taught me to have responsibility and work ethic. So I had a really good support system. To add to that, with having my father's personality is genuinely caring about what people have to say. You have to understand that people care way more about them and their stories than what you have to say. So if you're asking questions and genuinely listening to what they have to say, you're going to create this rapport a lot more quickly with a person or with a crowd than to just keep spitting shit out to make yourself feel important or whatever, right?
Yeah, definitely.
So I don't have a trick. I think it's just a way of being, of connecting with people. Learning to connect with people brings everyone sort of on the same level playing field. And it just, the humanizing factor that we always revert back to when it comes to marketing and financial planning and pretty much everything in life.
Which is awesome you say that because we've raised our kids to do that sort of thing, is that whether we're at a restaurant, when they were 6 years old, they had to order their own food. So they had to talk to an adult. They had to order. They had to say please and thank you. I would like the spaghetti and meatballs,
For sure.
please. And then as they got a little older, we said, it's nice to talk to people. So now we go to the grocery store and we're in the checkout line. And, my daughter, she'll be like, oh, I really like your glasses to the cashier. And the cashier will be like, oh, thanks. And it's like, where'd you get them?
That is the source of confidence right there.
Exactly. And I think if you do that, exactly like you said, if you help your kids with that early on, that gets instilled in them. And then when they're older, it's so much easier. Like my son, he is the shyest kid you'll ever meet. But we started doing that at an early age. And even now, I'm sure he still has anxiety about doing stuff, but he's not afraid to just go up to somebody, an adult, and say, hey, I have a question. Right. And it's helped him because he was so shy, whether it was asking the waitress for another glass of milk or whatever it was.
Or another lap dance or whatever. Yeah.
Exactly. Hey, I got a toonie here.
And please tell me there's a difference between confidence and cockiness too, because there's people that portray
Huge
this
difference.
aura of confidence that comes by as cockiness, and that too is a fucking big turnoff for me.
Confidence is not arrogance.
Exactly.
If you confuse those two, if you try to merge those two, you are in for a world of hurt.
Yeah, and people see right through that.
Exactly. So it's exactly what you were saying. Care about what other people are saying. That's where the arrogance and the cockiness disappears. And that's where your confidence comes in. Well, listen, thanks for joining us.
This is an us thing, man. Now you're making yourself the boss.
No, I was saying to the audience, to the people listening, thanks for joining us.
Oh, yes.
And then I was also thanking you.
Forgot there's people listening.
Yeah, there's a lot of people listening. But I'm also thanking you because I think, one, I couldn't do this without you. It'd be a really boring podcast.
We're a pretty good duo, buddy.
We need to huddle more. If we can huddle before each podcast, that would be great.
Yeah, not cuddle, huddle.
Yeah, cuddling gets you in HR. Huddling makes more money. Don't confuse the two.
Don't massage your employees.
Yeah, massage ideas, not employees.
That should be a really important motto. Always a slice, my good buddy.
It's always. I love it. This is Taming the Hustle.
Or something of the sorts.
We'll see you next time.
Cheers.